Okay, welcome back to another exciting episode of the JK Show. I'm JK. I realize I haven't published a video in 2 years. That's a bit absurd. So here we are. All I had to do was update my flash files, and I didn't do it. So I figured my webcam was broken or something. It's not broken. My mind is broken. That's what's broken. Anyway, I had a few things to talk about today. You know, if I could say one thing to the world today, one sentence for the day, one sentence to change your life today, the sentence is, it's not about you. It's not about you. The world is not about you. The liturgy of the church is not about you. It's not about you. Okay? These videos, they are about me. Okay? I admit that. They are about me. Because, frankly, at least in this moment, I am awesome. But it's not about you. Nothing is about you. If we are alive today, we are living in response to the world that God has made. If we're doing it well, then we're corresponding to the reality that He's made, to the liturgy that He has made, the reasonable service, if you will. So, and we can choose to not live it well. So basically, the only question that you have is, do you have the right liturgy or the wrong liturgy? Do you have the wrong definition of life and reality and happiness? You know, I told somebody the other week, I said, the people with the biggest problem in the world, the only problem in the world is that people have the wrong definition of happiness. Everybody wants to be happy. They just choose the wrong way to do it. It's not about you. You either live in a world that God has made and you correspond to the reality that He's made, or you don't. And if you don't, you're not going to be truly happy. You think you'll be happy, but you won't be. And the way we make ourselves unhappy is to somehow believe that it's about us. Almost all our problems are related to thinking that whatever pleases me in this moment, in a temporary sense, is what I shall do, and what I ought to do. That's dumb. You did not make this world. It's not about you. German philosophical idealism, the idea that we can just think our reality and make it happen, that bullcrap, The Secret, it's all a lie. Because it's not about you. You don't make the world. You correspond to the world as it really is. I wish more priests would talk this way. It's not about you. When you come to a funeral mass, it's not about you. And it's not about Uncle Frank either. It's the liturgy of the church, man. There's only one reasonable service. And it's not service to you. It's not even for you. It's for God. Not about you. I'm sure Uncle Frank was a really wonderful guy and he loved the Packers. But in that moment, who cares? Liturgy of the church. Responding to God in the way that He is designed. Period. End of story. It's His world. We're just living in it. Has no one said this before? We're all challenged in some way. We all sit there and, today I'm going to do whatever makes me happy. It is my world. I am going to please myself. That's somewhere between a British guy and Bill Cosby. I don't know what's going on there. But it's crap. This is why, let me go on a side issue here for a second. This is why our public policy is so messed up. Not because some people want us to live as individuals and some people prize the better collective and blah blah blah. No, our problem in public policy, social policy, whatever, in whatever area you want to talk about, whether economics or morality or whatever, it's all related to the same thing. And that same thing is we're fighting against reality in our policy. We think that, for example, that we can just redefine marriage, whether to allow homosexual marriage or whether to allow no-fault divorce or whatever you want to say, and that'll have no consequences on how people live their lives. Of course it will. And the reason it doesn't work, the reason why the state itself is crumbling, is because they're fighting against not only biological reality but moral reality. Kids are messed up when they don't grow up without a mom and a dad. They're just messed up. That's the reality that God's made. If we try to do something different, we're just wasting time. I'm not talking about to unify the church and the state. That's not what I'm talking about. But I am talking about if we're going to live as one polity, as one people, we have to live in the world as it actually is, not how we want it to be. Isn't that interesting? Let's live in the world as it is and not how we want it to be. But that's more difficult. That will challenge us in some way. You know, this is why our TV shows suck. Our TV shows, you turn on a family show. Anyone watch Full House back in the day? Full House is total crap. You know what our culture does? Our culture creates false realities for us to live in and imagine and think are awesome. Why? Because it doesn't have the equipment in and of itself to tell us what real reality is like. To tell us that there is a God and we're living in His world and He wants us to live in these ways. So we abstract out the concept of happy family. Here's the happy family. Why is the family happy? Why can we love? Why can things be magically resolved in half an hour? Yeah, that never happens. But anyway, why can we love? Why is there goodness? Why is there joy? Why should there be? Because if a family is operating as it should, it's simply participating in the goodness that comes from God. That's it. Fatherhood, motherhood, all those concepts derive from concepts in the mind of God. They're participations in the goodness of those ideas in the mind of God, not the other way around. You don't have to blame God if you had a bad father. It's not God the father's fault that he had a bad father. It's your father's fault for not corresponding to God's idea of father. That's what happened. That's reality. Let's live in that reality and stop making TV shows. You ever notice how the stars on those TV shows can't live or function? A lot of times they get addicted to drugs and whatever. 'Cause when the cameras stop rolling, when they're no longer Stephanie Tanner or whatever, then they sit around and go, what is the purpose of my life? Why do I not have the joy that this character, this fake reality that I create every day says I'm supposed to have? If you're not living for God, you're living for yourself. And if you live for yourself, you won't be happy. You might be pleasured for this moment or that moment, but you're not going to be happy. What is happiness? Happiness is blessedness. Happiness is correspondence to the reality that God has made, and ultimately on a supernatural level. My phone just rang, but I'm not going to answer it. You know why? Because I'm making a video. That's why. Alright, we've hit the 10-minute mark, and actually, my screen has gone dark. I don't have a lot to think about, or a lot to talk about today. I just wanted to say, it's not about you! I told Theo, I said, Theo, you see, it's not about you! And he wouldn't, he didn't listen. But, there we are. If Bill Cosby had become some sort of, like a priest, or even a deacon, or even a guy that just, teaches reality. Well, he teaches a lot of reality, but if he were in some role where he could convey spiritual truths as a normal matter of life, wouldn't that be amazing? Wouldn't you go to that homily every single Sunday? Just a thought. Bill Cosby. He's got his head on straight. He really does. 'Cause even in his comedy, he's talking about reality. As it is. Not how we want it to be. And the reason it's funny, you want to know why Bill Cosby is funny? Let me tell you why Bill Cosby is funny. Because he tells us about reality, he tells us how we fail to live up to reality, and he teases us and pushes us towards a better reality without hurting us. And that's funny. That is funny. If you can laugh at yourself and grow and go forward, that's funny. And it's good, too. You notice that? You notice how you never walk away from Bill Cosby going, oh, my life is horrible. You never feel that way. You go, I need to be better than when I was before. And you're laughing the whole way. Why? Because you can laugh at yourself without being destroyed. That is good comedy. That is reality. And that's the way it needs to be. Why am I leaning over? People can only see my neck. I need to straighten up. This is bad. I don't want to do this video again. Maybe I'll just sit up straighter next time. Alright, you live and you learn. You're seeing my chin. That's fine. I don't care. Listen to the video. Watch the video. Correspond with reality. That's your reasonable service. That's what the word liturgy means. To offer back to God what belongs to Him in Christ for the good of the world. Doesn't even matter what role you're in. You could be a priest or just a random guy. You have something to offer back to God in the liturgy, in the world, for the sake of the world. Christ says, this is my flesh which I will give for the life of the world. Okay. Well, get in on that. That's all you need to do. That's liturgy. That's reality. And that means, by the way, that means we don't have to compartmentalize Sunday and the rest of our week. Because everything is about that. What am I doing today that contributes to the liturgy or the reasonable service that corresponds to the reality that God has made? It culminates in the Eucharist, sure. But that's why you can say that you're living a Eucharistic life. Because everything culminates in the offering of your life in Christ back to God, back to God the Father. There we are. Hello? Am I making any sense yet? Alright, I'm gonna go. It's 14 minutes. And at least now, 2 years later, I'm not talking about Dancing with the Stars and Grey's Anatomy, although I love those things. Anyway, they correspond to some segment of my reality. I don't know how much of a big one. But then again, I haven't actually watched TV in 2 years, so... Anyway, go Cards. It'll be great next season. Everybody relax. Stop freaking out. I'll see you later. This is JK. Peace out.